All right, I just want to do a quick video today as a follow-up to some videos I did a while ago on Apex Script. I recently realized, beyond just the fact that I fixed a couple bugs, which I made available in my the fixes on my Gumroad here, and I'll have a link to that in the description. But I also realized that I didn't show how to actually reuse that script on a completely different geometry, in fact, and show how the Apex tagging features can be used to, bring a squash stretch, because I built the squash stretch script over a ball. And I wanted to show how to reuse that on a completely different piece of geometry. So let's do it. So I'm going to drop a Tommy, drive in here. I'm going to start by naming the primitives here. So clearly this is Tommy. And then I'm going to extract a centroid and make that kind of my skeleton, if you will. So I'm going to just make that a bounding box center. Good. I'm going to drop a rig doctor to make sure we have the transforms initialized. So be sure to do that. Okay, so that's my rest skeleton. Now I'm going to capture the mesh by coming over here, and I'm going to start by packing it. And I'm going to pass through the name and then pass that through to capture packed geometry. Drag in the mesh, drag in the base skeleton, and let's highlight that. And I'm going to capture by name. Because the mesh itself and the rig itself both use the same value for the name attribute, then the capturing should be complete. I don't even have to do a manual capture, so I can double check that by going into Bone Deform, drag that guy here, that one, whoops, do that. Let's drop a rig pose, connect it to that, and let's come over here and hit enter, and there you have it. So there's fully rigged, albeit super simple at this point because we haven't done anything with the squash and stretch, but that's all that's necessary, okay? So let me just get rid of this and this. And then I'm gonna add the couple bones that the squash and stretch mechanism need, which is kind of a top and bottom kind of skeleton, if you will. So I'll templatize that, and I'm gonna drop two more nodes. I'm going to drop let's do this. And I'm going to drop one here, hit enter. I'm going to drop one there and hit enter, and come over here to the rig tree, and 0.0, I'm going to make that bottom, and 0.1, I'm going to make that top. Okay. Actually, I'm going to create another one. So I'm going to copy, and I'm just going to create a root. So now I'm going to rename this root, and this one is bottom. And then I will put top is also parented to root. Okay, great. All right, so now I'm going to merge my deform node, my base skeleton with my guide skeleton, okay? And I'm gonna drop a parent joints here because I actually want to, okay, and I wanna drop Tommy into root, okay? And at this point now, I'm getting really close to showing you how to use the rig, but there's one more very important piece that has to happen here, which is I'm gonna drop an attribute adjust array node. And this is an easy way of adding tags. So you got to make sure that the attribute class is point, and then come back over into the viewport and select that top joint, hit A. This is going to be our squash top. I'm going to select the bottom, hit A. That's going to be squash bottom. Okay. And you'll see what's happening over here on the right, where it's using the name to grab the joint and then giving it a value, the tag value, okay? And I'm gonna add one more And actually, you know what? I'm going to do it manually here. I'm just going to add at name equals and then Tommy. And I'm going to make that our squash deform node. Okay. And with those 3 tags, we're ready to roll. Now, I'm going to do one other thing here where I'm going to add an FK tag. So I'll select all of these and hit A and do FK. And now all those, you know what, I'm going to remove Tommy actually. Now I've got the FK tags, and you'll see why in a second. All right, so now if I make this a little bit bigger, I've got all I need to throw this into Apex. So now I'm going to create the pack folder that Apex is expecting. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to drag there and push. This is my rest skeleton and this is my guide skeleton. I tell Apex those things by coming over here and saying base shape, base scale, and then guides scale. Okay. And now we are off to the races. Now, you know what? I'm going to unpack this output and then we'll be able to see Tommy in all his glory all the way through the system. Okay, great. All right, so now let's drop an auto rig component, and I am going to make this select the FK transform here, and I'm going to make one change to source. I want to make this guides, and then I want to leverage those tags by coming over here and saying I only want to be able to translate FK tags. So anything that I tagged FK, then I want to be able to see them and manipulate them. So that was bottom, root, and top. Okay, and you'll see I get that transform. All right, well, where's Tommy? We just need to drop another auto rig component. Turn this into a bone deform, and there is Tommy. Okay, but I still can't do anything with this yet because I haven't hooked in the script that we wrote a while back. And now let's do that. So now I can drop an auto rig. I drop an Apex script node. And in this Apex script node, you got to do a couple things. First off, open the header, change this to component. Okay. Come over here to file. You want to make sure this is text. And then you can just do that. I've done this before, and you load your text and you're ready to roll. So then you take this second input, put it over here, take your auto rig component and say use second input, drop this in there. And now if you come over here, you can squash and stretch Tommy. If I just put the highlight and grab your bottom, and there you go. As simple as that.